7 months into his first tour in the Korean War, Zhang Kuiyuan was struck by machine gun fire from an American plane. He was driving a supply truck from China into North Korea at night with his lights off. He says fighting alongside his Korean brothers was a challenge.
We didn't have many contacts with the North Koreans unless we were cooperating in the same hills. In general, we would head in one direction and they would go another way.
Relations between China and North Korea have long been described as being as close as lips and teeth. But during the war, the two sides had little interaction.
There was such a strict discipline that we were forbidden to have contact with the locals. Ordinary communication was allowed, but not mingling and having Korean friends. We were worried it would create problems.
Zhang Yuzeng crossed the Yalu River into North Korea on his 22nd birthday. He fought on the front line south of Pyongyang. He says Chinese soldiers fought valiantly and showed little fear on the battlefield.
North Koreans are not as good at fighting. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, Kim Il-sung gathered troops in the northeast to go fight in Korea. But for as much as he fought, it all ended up in a stalemate, and the country was divided into two parts.
Even though China and North Korea were on the front lines of a global socialist movement, mistrust and a gap in capabilities divided Korean and Chinese soldiers. Shen, a Korean War historian, says that during the conflict, Russian leader Joseph Stalin intervened several times to resolve disputes. The two argued over who should lead forces into battle, where the front line should be established, and transportation.
During the war, the Chinese army and the North Korean army, Mao Zedong and Kim Il-sung, had opposite and conflicting views on all basic strategic questions.
Despite those differences, the war cemented a relationship that has lasted for decades. In more recent years, however, the North's nuclear tests and provocations have sunk ties to a new low.
North Korea is pushing it too far. They make China lose face. They make a nuclear test and tell China only 20 minutes in advance. All the others know beforehand. How can we still call this a special relationship?
Today, for many Chinese, North Korea is a weird tourist attraction. Grandchildren of those who fought to liberate Korea, Shen says, would rather see China freed from its historical bond with Pyongyang. Bill Ide for VOA News, Beijing.